Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. It's the Daily Dish time. Aren't you so glad it's Thursday? Are you thirsty? I got a little mineral water here. I got a little water here with Crave water in it and hot melt mix. This is my big thing when I take it to the courts. Hydration, all kinds of stuff going on. It's just really great. Look who I see. I see Catherine and Alice Jocelyn. So good to have you here. You know, sorry I kind of bailed on you yesterday. I did. You know, yesterday was Wise Women's Wednesday, and I get a text message just as we're going to bed on Tuesday night, and it says, we'll be picking you and Mark up at 11:30. I'm thinking, for what? And found out that the show that we were going to see, we went and saw Rocky Horror. It's in a play, and a friend of ours was the vocal coach for this play in Highlands. So I will tell you, the funny part about it was I had to completely redo my whole day. Jenny, do a best of, it's an hour drive there, and we did in the middle of the day, we're doing a matinee on a Wednesday. It just tells you how many people are retiring around here. Am I right? Doris, hi. So anyway, we had a really good time. It was really fun, and we had audience participation. You know, we threw things. You know how it is if you've ever done Rocky Horror. Pretty fun. So that's that. So I was gone all day yesterday, and now I'm back. Hello, Jeanette. And I will tell you, you know, thinking about it, like laying in bed last night as I was falling asleep, and I was thinking, you know, yesterday the show I was going to be talking about food and all of that. And I thought, well, I'm still going to do that on Wednesday because this is crucial. This week, we are really positively looking at our bodies as our vehicles for getting around, right? You don't get an extra, you don't get a new one. You have to use the one that you got, you know, with all its flaws, with all its whatever it is that you have to deal with. It's just the way it is. Deborah and Martha in the house. It's good to have you here. So I was thinking about all of this, and you know, I've got some notes, but mostly rapid fire. I'm going to talk about it. Feel free to ask questions in the comments as we go. If you've seen the Sprint webinar, strongly suggest that you watch that again, or even better, get signed up for the Ultimate Sprint webinar, which is happening this Monday, by the way, at 7 p.m. Really easy to go there, savingdinner.com/us Ultimate Sprint. Get that? Just do that and get yourself signed up so you can get to that. It's a short, easy webinar. I find most of my time is spent in answering questions. Okay, so I just hope that you will attend. So we have that. The other thing that we have going on, there's still a little, you know, some leftover blowout sale stuff. You can find that at savingdinner.com/blowout. What else? What else do we have? Jenny, I'm relying on Jenny. Well, of course, we have our Etsy shop, savingdinner.com/Etsy. Yes, this week, you know, while we always talk about anti-inflammatory, this, that, and the other thing, right? One of the things is an anti-inflammatory mindset. How do you flip your thoughts? How do you change your focus? How do you dwell on things that are going to make a difference in your life? You start looking at stuff that's going to light you up. I've got 2 quote decks here. You get one, if you buy one, you're going to get the second one absolutely free. And we're going to send you this cute little stand so that you can take one of these cards. I'll show you. Can I do that without, I don't want to take this apart. But you can take one of these cards, like this one says, And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than a risk it took to blossom. What does that remind you of? And it's sitting on your desk and looking at you and telling you to change the way you're thinking, girlfriend. When we change the way we're thinking, we change the way we react, we change our body's chemistry, we change everything. So I think this is one of the best deals we've ever had. Grab them before they're gone. savingdinner.com/show. That's where you'll find that. Buy one, get one. Don't you love buy one, get ones? I do. I love a buy one, get one. What else do we have? Free shipping if you order $300 or more, because we love you and appreciate the fact that you get your supplements from us. And this week's quote is from an ancient wisdom. It's from Aristotle. Excellence is an art won by training and habitation. We train and then we live it, is basically what it is. Once we understand it, then we start to incorporate it into what it is that we do. Excellence is a way of life. It's choosing the high road. It's not choosing perfection, by the way. It's choosing the high road. It's choosing a better way. It's choosing to grow. That's what excellence is. And excellence always leads to, easily said, right? Vibrancy, of course. And when we're vibrant and when we're tuned in, tapped in, and just feeling like, centered, that's when our lives start to change. That's when we start that vibrant path. That's when everything starts to connect and it just starts to make sense. I'll tell you, sometimes it gets difficult to always be making the right decisions, especially if there's been a lifetime of bad decisions, especially with the habits that need to be broken and the new ones that need to be created. But I will tell you, it is worth it, and you're worth it, because you are here on purpose and for purpose. And the other thing that's so incredibly important is that you were chosen to be here at this time for this reason, and there's somebody here you need to serve. So keep that in mind as you're thinking and, getting drawn into all your stuff, because we all have stuff. So we're focusing on the body, and we did this on Monday. We talked Monday or Tuesday. Well, no, I guess it was Tuesday. I don't know, whenever it was. But we talked in depth about how our body adapts to exercise, and how exercise is so crucial, and how certain types of exercise for us, women of a certain age, have to be incorporated in so that we can preserve our bodies and take them into the next years and the next decades and become those vibrant women that we want to be. Vibrancy doesn't have an expiration date, by the way. It doesn't. Vibrancy simply asks that you give it what it needs, which is vibrant thoughts, vibrant movement, vibrant food, right? Vibrant hydration, vibrant sleep. It's loving yourself in such a thorough way that you implement these things and put these things into play. So today we're going to be talking about food, because food is a thing. And, we can't just fast our way into health. Fasting can be a part of it. And of course, I'm a big believer in intermittent fasting. Our bodies need the break, to just not be eating for a time. And that's when our bodies do all the work. That's why I like overnight fasting. It's simple. You just get rid of the snacking habit and you're there, right? It's that simple. Have a dinner and then just stop eating until, it's time to break your fast the next day. You've got that whole time. When you're in rest and when you're in sleeping mode, your body's doing all this repair work that it would otherwise be spending the energy on digestion. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about all of this and you're thinking about the treats that you're missing out on as your husband digs into the ice cream. Mine does almost every night. I just watch and I always think, I'm preserving myself. I'm giving myself a pass on all of this stuff so that I can go into the vibrancy lane. That's where I want to go. And I don't want, it doesn't make sense for me anymore to snack like that. But really what we want to do is we want to talk about anti-inflammatory eating. And where we want to start with is protein. And we need to be protein centric. We need to be all about prioritizing protein in our lives, especially for postmenopausal women. Protein is the thing that feeds the muscle and which, again, turns around and protects our bones. And this is really, really important. And our bone health, after menopause, we have decreased estrogen levels. And what does that lead to? A loss of bone. And that mineral density that's in our bones and the collagen that is in our bones all needs to be replaced on the regular, because just from going through life, it's not gonna do it itself, right? That was happening when we were younger, but not now. So what we need to do is we need to be looking at an adequate amount of protein for our bodies. Now, what I say is it's your ideal weight in grams is what you should be eating in protein. So if your ideal weight is 150 pounds, then 150 grams should be the equation, what you're shooting for every day. And you want that protein spread out throughout the day. You don't want to just like have oatmeal for breakfast and, lunch with a salad and some, people do this all the time, just like skimpy, 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 and then all this protein in the evening. Well, that ends up being too much protein. And guess what happens with that? That protein then becomes a sugar load, because if too much protein in your system will break down into sugar. Did you know that? It's true. And we don't want that. So when we have adequate protein intake, and that again is your ideal weight in ounces, and we couple that with resistant weight training that we were talking about on Tuesday, we couple those two things together, the protein then is going to start protecting our bones. It does. It protects us up. It also protects our muscle. So two things we don't want: osteopenia, osteoporosis. That's one for the bones. And the other thing, third thing, I should say, three things we don't want is sarcopenia, which is muscle wasting. Those things all together is what brings women down and creates frailty as we get older. And even if you have been diagnosed with any of these things, do not accept that as that's it. You still can be very proactive and still build that back out. And I knew a woman who, in her 30s, was diagnosed with osteoporosis and completely reversed it, simply with good minerals, collagen, getting in enough adequate vitamin D, weight resistance training, all of that, and eating adequate protein, of course. But we need to recognize something really dynamic and important about what our bodies do. And that is they want to heal. If we give our bodies what it wants, it will heal. Now, one of the things you've heard me say over and over again, and I'm going to repeat it again now, is that your body doesn't have a gray zone for food. It's black or it's white. It's good or it's bad. There's no such thing as food that doesn't give some kind of impact to your body. It just doesn't happen. You're either lighting your body on fire, or on the other hand, you're feeding your body on what it needs. Hi, Autumn. So good to have you here. This is critical because we need to understand the power of what's on the end of our forks. And when we understand that, we can start making decisions that are going to take good care of ourselves, or we're going to make decisions that aren't. And our bodies know the difference, and our bodies are going to give us a consequence or a benefit from the decision that we make. That's how crucial this is. Everything counts. And lest you think you can out exercise a really crappy diet, you cannot. It doesn't work that way. Your body is still going to respond with inflammation. Your body is still going to respond with maybe slowing down the weight loss or whatever it is that you're trying to do. But the point is that your body knows. And if we start listening and start really being in touch with what it is with our bodies, like, for example, maybe you're going to find out, hey, I was losing weight. I was doing all this stuff and everything was working. Then all of a sudden I stopped. What's going on here? That's when we need to go in and give an analysis. Sometimes it's just a plateau, but sometimes it's, hey, get rid of the X, Y, and Z. Stop eating the cheese, for example. Stop with the gluten stuff, because those two things were, for me, were big deals. And that's when I finally gave those two things up, and boom, everything just started to fall off. But previous to that, I was just a little dabble here and a little dabble there. Dabbling isn't something that's really good for us if we're in this place of really wanting to clear up and eradicate inflammation. But we start with the protein because the protein is the most important thing for a postmenopausal woman. Amen. All right. Second, the other thing that we need to look at is, what else is it going to do? It's going to lead to muscle mass maintenance, of course, just like we were talking about. But it's also going to help with your metabolism and satiety. And satiety is just, you're going to feel full. We want to feel like we've eaten something. We don't want to feel like, wow, it just goes all the way through. Funny enough, I was at this, I went to a wedding early in October, very early in the month. And the lady who had this, she had this very lovely party, and I was invited to this party for the bride's friends and everything. And I didn't know anybody. And, we went there, and it was lovely. The dinner was this big taco salad, and it looked delicious. And I just remember eating it, and I was just thinking, I'm just so hungry. What's up? And I said, oh, this is so good. Is this chicken? It turns out it's jackfruit. This woman was a vegan, and I was starving. I was so hungry. There was no satiety there. And I had avocado on there. I had all the things. I skipped the vegan cheese. Thank you very much. But it just didn't fill me up. And then I got, I remember back in my days when I was trying to do vegetarianism, I never went vegan, but was a vegetarian for a while. I was always hungry. So if you're protein centric and protein first as you're eating, it's going to give you that nice full feeling, which we all want. We want to feel like we've had a meal. We don't want to feel like I'm going to be hungry in a half an hour, right? That kind of thing. That's important. And then we have to look at fiber. What does fiber do? Well, it impacts your blood sugar levels in a mighty, mighty way. And one of the things that, if your doctor's ever said you're kind of pre-diabetic or you're on the diabetic range or whatever, that is one of the first things that you need to do is start bringing that blood sugar levels down. We do this by obviously eradicating all sugar in our diets, but we also do this by adding in more fiber. And we creep it in and we go a little bit slower and a little bit slower. It's also been proven in all the studies, if you read the studies, that fiber is going to help with preventing colon cancer, number one. And two, it's going to help with your digestive tract, isn't it? You know what I'm talking about. She who takes in her fiber and adequate hydration is going to be the queen of all poopers. And you don't want to be somebody who's stuck, if you know what I'm saying. Procrastination of this kind, where your body is not completely doing what it needs to do, is torture. If you've ever been in that. The only time I've ever been constipated in my life was when I was pregnant. And I just was like, how do people live like this? How does this even work? That was so many years ago. But you want to be a good pooper. You do, because what goes in needs to get used up, distributed throughout the body for the different things that it does. And you need to be pushing it back out. Fiber is going to do that. Fiber is also going to help with the protein to satiate and make you feel better. It's going to slow your digestion down. And guess what slowing your digestion down does? Makes you feel full longer. That's what it does. So it's really important. So one of the things that I make, and I'm going to just tell you about it, if you are very active, like I am, I only do this on days that I play pickleball. I make what I call my protein oatmeal. It's supersonic protein oatmeal. And so I make steel cut oats. Now Mark eats a bowl that's, like Papa Bear size. But I only eat like a half a cup, not even a cup of steel cut oats, because it's still high in carbs. There's some fiber, but still. I do that. Plus I do 2 tablespoons of gelled chia seeds. I also add in a scoop of unflavored perfect paleo protein, a little almond milk, and then I use well, he uses maple syrup, and I use gosh, what's it called? It's called Swerve, and they have a brown sugar Swerve, and it's basically, erythritol and some other stuff in it, but there's no sugar impact, which I like. And it's great for storing energy so that I can use it when I'm out on the court, because it goes right in and comes right out. But the fiber load on that and the protein load on that, when you add that in, it quadruples what the protein would normally be, helping me stay more satiated. And it really bumps up the fiber with those gelled chia seeds. So these are things that I do on purpose to just, bam, get this thing done, locked and loaded. You're going to love it, Autumn. It's not as sweet as regular brown sugar, but it just makes it, because I tried eating it plain and I was like, it's like eating wallpaper paste. Hi, Lynn, by the way, too. Yeah, I don't like that. And I'm not keen on so much oatmeal. Again, I only do it on the mornings that I play pickleball, because I know I'm just like, I'll get through all of that, but it really does help a lot. But again, it's protein and fiber. You see that right there? The other thing that fiber does is it improves insulin sensitivity. And that's, if your doctor says you're starting to become insulin resistant, that means that your body's resisting absorbing that insulin. And you want that sensitivity. You want that sensitivity to come back. This is what helps. The fiber helps because it slows down everything, and it doesn't give you that big bam impact like you're looking at. And it also, just overall for glycemic control, this is really absolutely crucial. And if you haven't ever been talked to by your doctor who says this is exactly the thing that you need to be doing. This is what you need to be doing. Trisha's talking about poop. The first word I heard when I joined was poop. Getting real in here. Absolutely. And we're here for you. And Alice always adds gelled chia seeds to her smoothie. Me too. Me too. I always do that. And what I do is I almost have like 4 meals, if you will, on the days that I play pickleball. When I get home, that's what I'll have. Because I can't do my smoothie and my supplements when I'm playing pickleball, give me a stomach ache. But afterwards, it's great. So I just consider it like a little mini meal. And even though it's 4 meals and it's like, ooh, that's a lot. Considering the physical activity, I find it to be just fine, fine. Then we have to look at the rainbow available to us in the way of vegetables and certain fruit. How should we store chia seeds? Well, when they're dried, just in the bag they come in and in your pantry. But then when you gel them, I just put them in a little glass jar and then put a lid on it and put it in the refrigerator. I get through my little setup in about 3 or 4 days, and then I make a new batch. Just works out really well. But remember, when you're making gelled chia seeds, it's like 2 tablespoons to about, a cup. And then just let it sit on the countertop, keep stirring it, but let it sit on the countertop for about 30 minutes. Don't put it in the refrigerator. After you put it in the refrigerator, the gelling stops. So let it gel first on the countertop. That's a really good idea. Did you see what Amber said? She puts hers in ice cube trays and then pops it in her smoothie each day. That's good. That's really good. Good idea. So let's talk about the vegetable. I realize I don't really talk about it that much and the importance of what that's about, because I talked about it so many. I've been doing this for 20 something years now. So, but let's talk about this rainbow color and the things that happen with these vegetables and what they do. There's a diverse nutrient profile involved in all vegetables because of the color, because of the fiber, because of the vitamin content that's in there. Like, for example, with green leafies, you're going to get a big dose of chlorophyll, which, yes, that's a nutrient. And also folate's going to be really rich, and iron. kind of a thing. It's going to feed your mitochondria, which are the little energy centers of each and every cell. And when you have your energy centers happy, your cells are happy. When your cells are happy, see how that spreads out to your whole body? Because that's what you are. It's just this big bunch of cells all together. So we want to do that. So when you're thinking about this, and I've got some videos on TikTok showing I do this all the time. I'll go through and just pull out my vegetables and say, okay, so I've got broccoli, I've got these peppers, I've got, what else do I have here? I've got zucchini, I've got chard or kale or whatever, and chop, chop, chop. Everything gets chopped up. And then I chop an onion and then I start sauteing the stuff. And then that gets set aside. Then I cook up the shrimp maybe. And then maybe I put it on a little bit of rice, cauli rice and regular rice. Mix that together again to lower the impact, the sugar impact. But that is a really good meal. You've got the protein, you've got a ton of vegetables, and you've got that little bit of carbs, which are good for the next day when I'm playing pickleball or something. And it's absolute fuel. No recipe. Sometimes I'll make it Asian style and put a little toasted sesame oil in there and ginger and garlic and all of that. Sometimes I'll make it Indian style and I'll do it with, some turmeric and garam masala and ginger, garlic, yum, 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 cumin, cilantro, all the things. So let's take a look at some things. Like first of all, dead foods. You've got tomatoes often, right? The component in there, the phytonutrient in there is called lycopene. And lycopene has been known for its antioxidant properties and for helping prevent certain types of cancer, especially with men and their prostate. So prostate cancer is one of those things. And I saw a video a long time. It's like one of those things that just I thought was really interesting is just basically it creates a slippery surface. So as a cell, an unfriendly cell comes along and wants to glom onto, say, your husband's prostate, it just makes it slide right off. That's what the lycopene does. So encourage your spouses to eat a ton of red stuff. I'm always doing that with Mark, making sure that he's getting lots of red stuff. It's also good for us as well, too. I mean, don't get me wrong. Lycopene is really good. Orange and yellow foods like carrots and oranges, orange melons, things like that are rich in vitamin C and A, right? Or beta carotene. And the thing that I like about beta carotene, there's no such thing as creating too much vitamin A from beta carotene. You'll just pee the rest of it out. Where vitamin A is an oil soluble vitamin and too much can be too hard on your liver. So if you're doing a ton of A, you're doing a great service to your body. And remember, vitamin A, even in the beta carotene, which is a precursor for vitamin A, right? That vitamin A and vitamin C's, that is just immune system boost up in a big, big way. And it also helps with your eye health. And, you hear about people all the time, macular degeneration and what have you. That is preventable. And it starts with all these things that I'm talking about. It is preventable. And remember this, if you ever say to me, oh, but there's a history of that in my family. Your family's history and your genetic makeup may load the gun, but your diet and your lifestyle is what pulls the trigger. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? This is really crucial because that is how much power you have to create health in your life. That's how much power you have. Andrea is asking, can you say that again about the dosage of vitamin A? So I'm not saying anything about the dosage of vitamin A, except that you don't want to be taking vitamin A on the regular, like 10,000 international units a day constantly, because it's an oil-soluble vitamin that gets stored in your liver. What you want instead is beta carotene. Beta carotene gets made into vitamin A in your body, and any excess beta carotene just gets peed out. There you go. That's how that all works. So let's take a look at that then. This is important because these are two things. Lots of vegetables. The orange and the yellow are two very important vegetables colors that indicate this is good for your eye health. It's also good for your immune function. Also, green vegetables. We're talking kale and spinach and chard and dark leafy greens. We're talking about all of that stuff. Well, we know that it's also rich in K. It's all rich in B vitamins, especially folate, and it's really rich in E. So, what do we know about that? Well, that is going to feed your mitochondria. That's it's just unbelievable how very empowering it is to that mitochondria. It's direct energy. Okay. So keep that in mind. That green is really, really important. So these other colors. And then there's blue and purple foods like blueberries and eggplant. And that's anthocyanins. And those pigments have antioxidant properties. And you've heard this before. It supports your brain health. So when you think about think about the uniqueness and the God, talk about being fearfully and wonderfully made, right? These were all created by the creator for you so that you can eat them in this rainbow style and get all these benefits for all parts of your body. And if you do this on the regular, first of all, not inflammatory at all, very anti-inflammatory, very fulfilling, very satisfying. And, cook them up with a little ghee, cook them up with garlic and add some good, Himalayan pink salt in there and pepper. Add things, make it tasty. Don't you dare just eat plain food and just punish yourselves. Make it tasty. I was watching somebody on, excuse me, my nose is itching. I was watching somebody on Instagram and they were doing basically what I just said, cooking all those vegetables and then adding in, they were doing chicken and they weighed and measured their chicken and all this other kind of stuff. But I was horrified because I didn't see even salt and pepper go on, just all these vegetables. They didn't do anything with the chicken. And I thought, who wants to eat that? That's not delicious. I want delicious. Help. Fix it. So I have the whole, I have a spice drawer that's filled with spices. I'm pulling them out. I'm adding all those things in. I'm making sure that that is going to be a delicious, excellent, tasty meal because all those vegetables need to get into my body and feed it and make it vibrant. They all do. I need this for my health. So do you. But don't you want to do it deliciously? Hello. And let's not also forget about white foods. There's a thing called allicin. Allicin, ALLICIN. You'll find it in garlic and onions especially. That's kind of nature's antibiotic. It kills viruses, it kills bacteria, it kills all kinds of things and certain kinds of cancer. So onions and garlic are our friends, and even cauliflower has it, right? And it gets in there and it does a job as well. So think about if you think about what are these vegetables doing, they're doing all kinds of work on our behalf for your body. This is all health promoting. So it's going to also, these vegetables all have fiber in it. And guess what? That's a prebiotic. A prebiotic is what feeds the good guys in your gut and helps your gut be more and more vibrant, right? We want healthy guts. It aids in digestion and helps, again, stabilize that blood sugar levels. And then don't forget about how it feeds your mitochondria, because I will tell you, this is really important. And one thing that I do every single week, sometimes twice a week, is I make broccoli sprouts because the sulforaphane, which is a cancer fighting, and it's unbelievable what this does. It has 10 times the sulforaphane that a stalk of broccoli has, right? 10 times. And that fights cancer like nobody's business. Unreal. So I buy, what are they? Hamana, HAMANA. And guess what? Get them on Amazon. They're cheaper than going to the Hamana website. And they're mats. They have like these cocoa mats and with paper and you just press them down 10 seconds, count to 10, let them pop up, and then just sit there and take them out. I mean, I take mine out to get a little bit more sun because in the cold weather, they don't go as fast as they need to. And I will tell you, They go into our salads. They go into our smoothies. They go in everywhere. And I would make more. I should have more. I feel like I need to have more of those. But we're in a fight. If you have reached a certain age and stage in your life, we have to fight for ground that keeps getting taken away from us. We used to produce our own collagen. We don't anymore, so we need to be taking that. We used to do this. We used to do that. We don't do these things anymore. We don't digest the way we should digest. So what does that mean? Go to the doctor and get a pill? No, start taking digestive enzymes. The things that we don't do, we need to be aware of how our body's aging has slowed things down, but that doesn't mean we surrender. It means we fight harder. And we can do that with our forks, y'all. That is a weapon of mass destruction, however you want to look at it. So your fork can be a weapon of mass destruction and just put you in the grave, or your fork can be a weapon of mass destruction and take out all the things that are standing in your way of vibrancy. That's how important your food is. So there's one more thing, though, I'm going to be bringing into this whole thing, and because it is Thursday, and then we're going a little bit longer today, but all right, because the number one question that I get asked most of the time has to do with weight loss. And one of the things that I can say right now about weight loss that is completely overlooked, it's hydration and it's lack of sleep. And I will tell you, if you want to see you want to see the needle move on the scale, then you're going to have to get into hydrating correctly every single day. It's not hard. It's your ideal weight divided by 2, right? There you go. That's your ounces. That's how many ounces you should be. That's how you need to be doing it. And you can count your coffee, you can count your tea, you can count your smoothie, you can count your bone broth. And then just making sure that that's there. And if it's in place and that's a habit, good. Your body's going to know what to do. You can metabolize that fat and get it through your body. You poop it out. That's where those dead fat cells go. You poop them out. Speaking of poop, Trisha, I'm just letting you know. But the other thing is the lack of sleep. If you are in, it really, Jackie, it can be your ideal weight. Your ideal weight really is more for the protein, but it is your actual weight. But if that's too much and you can't possibly get in that hydration, then just do your ideal weight. At least we've got something going, right? So the next thing, though, is sleep. If you find yourself staying up at night, if you find yourself falling asleep on the couch, you know who I'm talking to right now, right, Tanya? If you find yourself in a place where you're not getting adequate sleep, you're going to bed too late and you find yourself with 6 hours of sleep, it's not enough. You need to figure that out. It is not hard. It just means simply putting yourself to bed a little bit earlier and training yourself into this, getting an adequate sleep routine. Those 2 things, you can be doing the perfect ultimate sprint even. And yet you're going, why am I not losing? Why? I'm doing everything. Why? I'm exercising. Why is this not happening? How's your hydration? How's your sleep? Those 2 things are off. The rest is off. Your body isn't just a digestive situation here. It isn't. And it's not just an exercise machine. It is the entirety of who you are. And you need to sleep and rest. You need to hydrate specifically for your body. When you do this, that's when you start to see things go the way that you want to. The last thing that I'm going to say is the other thing that people get really caught up in is what the scale is saying. First of all, the scale does not have a voice unless you give it one. Amen? Second of all, that scale is finicky. It's persnickety. It's not going to adequately give you information that is necessarily going to help you really move the needle. Because the scale is only telling you what it wants to tell you for the day. It could go up, it can go down, up, down, up, down. To get things really, if you really want to know where you are, go get yourself a tape measure. And the tape measure is going to measure fat lost, especially around the stomach. So if you take a tape measure and put it around your waist, and because I've seen this over and over and over again. You can see it in the Hot Melt Sprint group. You'll see it. And people say, I don't know, I didn't lose any weight, but boy, my clothes are all loose. They didn't lose any muscle. They lost fat is what happened. Because you can lose muscle all day long and you can get skinny fat if you want to, but I don't suggest that because that's going to keep your metabolism in a really bad place. Remember, muscle is an organ of metabolism, right? It's an endocrine organ. Remember that. So if what you're trying to do is lose the fat, then you make best friends with your tape measure. If you don't have one, go to Amazon right now and put one in your shopping cart because I know you're going to be ordering something else. That's what you need to be intimately involved with. How your underwear fit, how tight are your jeans, and when they start to get loose, that's when you start congratulating yourself. But I will tell you that measurement is everything because it tells the truth. The fat's going. The fat is leaving when you see those numbers go down on that measuring device. So the Hot Melt Sprint hits all of this. The Ultimate Hot Melt Sprint does even better job on this and takes it to that next level. I sure hope that you're going to join us this Monday coming up at 7 p.m. Again, savingdinner.com/us. Now, I went through all of this stuff and I'm going to be answering more questions on Monday. And I could probably bore you for another hour about the importance of all of this. I have just barely brushed the surface of it. But I'm going to tell you something. When you get your food under control, when you make a habit out of good food, good eating, and doing things like this, you don't have to be weighing and measuring all your food all the time. You don't have to be panicking and thinking, oh, I can't weigh this on a scale, or I can't pee on a stick here, or any of that stuff. All you have to do is just know that you are feeding your body in a way that's honoring and in a way that's protecting. So that's what we want to do. Anti-inflammatory, everything. Mindset, food, exercise, sleep, and hydration. And that's going to lead us to the place of absolute vibrancy. Are you there with me on that? I sure hope so, because I feel passionately about this and I want to see you feel the very best that you can possibly feel. I love you all. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.